trip for the Milwaukee Brewers takes them from St. Louis to Citi Field as the Brewers ready for a weekend series against the New York Mets. The Brew Crew winning 2 out of 3 in St. Louis and played 2 of those games without Lorenzo Cain, who is back in the lineup tonight after missing the Tuesday and Wednesday matchups with the Cardinals because of a quad injury. Yoenis Cespedes had some pretty big numbers in his career against the Brew Crew. Has also driven in 10 runs so far this season for the surging New York Mets. Good evening alongside Bill Schroeder. I'm Matt LePay. Sophia Minard is our reporter. Well, the Mets are probably the talk of baseball with the start that they've had, Rock, but from the Brewers' perspective, they have more than held their own here against the Mets. You look back the last year and a half, they have fared very well against them.
Yeah, and they've had good pitching, have the Mets, for a good considerable amount of time, but a lot of those dramatic wins, especially a year ago. You remember the Manny Pena home run. I mean, a lot of home runs late in games, and, the Brewers just, had a way with the New York Mets, and there's really no rhyme or reason for it, just the way it worked out. The Brewers really swinging the bats well. You can see all the home runs, 16 homers in those 9 games. You don't really expect a whole lot of that. I mean, this pitching staff for the New York Mets, outstanding. And you can see even on the road at Citi Field, the Mets, really weren't able to put the Brewers away all that often. The Brewers matched them pitch for pitch, but, the New York Mets, tremendous start. It's all about their pitching. Their bullpen, second best in all of baseball. Only the Braves bullpen has been better. They got the big boys. They got Syndergaard, DeGrom, Harvey. These guys are a force to be reckoned with, and the one thing the Brewers are going to have to do in this series, take advantage of opportunities. Too many left on base in that St. Louis Cardinals series. I don't think the Brewers are going to be able to get away with that in this series.
Yeah, they would be hard pressed. Brew Crew will try to cool off this Mets team off to the best start in franchise history, and a good guy to have on the mound for it, Zach Davies. He caught up with Sophia Minard. Davies talking about starting this year well. He has another chance for a good outing tonight.
coming off of a no decision in his last start against the Cubs, but it was a quality start for him. 6 innings of 1-run ball with 8 strikeouts. And a look at tonight's starter for New York. It'll be Steven Matz, who is coming off of a no decision as well. 5 shutout innings for him and 8 strikeouts against the Washington Nationals. Should be a great pitching duel tonight here at Citi Field. Good evening, everyone. Sophia Minard. Now for Zach Davies, we know how he finished last season. He was a 17-game winner and led the team in number of starts. But for Davies, it's about how he is starting this season. That's been a priority for him, is getting off to a better start in the month of April. You see in 2016, his first 8 starts, a 5.4 earned run average. And in 2017 as well, over his first 15, that 5.4 earned run average. So Davies knows that he would like to overcome that slow start in April and spoke with me about the adjustments he has made to get off to a good start here this year.
I had a plan in the offseason. I had a plan for spring training, and you know, I stuck to it and I kept on with it. And to me, it just paid off. First couple of games, all my off speed's there. It's in the zone. Command is there for me, and you know, it's another confidence booster. It's showing yourself that you did something in the offseason that paid dividends and worked out for you to start the season on a better note.
Davies would love to give the Brewers another quality start here tonight at Citi Field. He'll be taking down the Mets' best lineup, the 10 and 1 record for the Mets. We've got Brewers and Mets first pitch coming up next.
Crew has been close games all season. Winning 5 of their 1-run games gives them the most played and won in the National League. Now their sights are set on the Big Apple and taking down the best team off to their best start in franchise history. The series begins in Queens tonight between the Mets and the Brewers on Fox Sports Wisconsin. And a very comfortable night here in New York City. Low 70s, clouds here and there, but a beautiful night for baseball. Alongside Bill Schroeder and Sophia Minard, I'm Matt LePay. BA Brian Anderson back in a few weeks as Craig Counsell takes his team from St. Louis, where the Crew won 2 out of 3, including Wednesday afternoon in a, go figure, a 1-run game. And now it's on to New York here for the weekend. Here's the Brewers batting order presented by Potawatomi. Lorenzo Cain back in the lineup tonight, followed by Domingo Santana and Ryan Braun. Travis Shaw hits cleanup. Jesus Aguilar, Hernan Perez, Orlando Arcia, Jet Bandy, and Zach Davies. The Brew Crew batting order facing the left-hander for the Mets, Steven Matz.
Yeah, making his 3rd start. He was very good his last time out in a no decision against the Nationals. 5 innings, Only 3 hits, no runs. He's a New York native out of Stony Brook, New York.
And we are ready to go as a strike to Kane begins the night here at Citi Field. Well, the talk about the Mets for quite a while now is, if healthy, this pitching staff could be about as good as it gets in baseball. And it's been anything but healthy, and that includes Steven Matz. But very early on this season, it's a healthy group, and it has been lights out good. Lorenzo Cain back in there, missed the Tuesday night and Wednesday afternoon games in St. Louis because of a quad injury. He had that little brush with Jose Martinez, legging out an infield hit. Good to see him back in there tonight.
Yeah, no kidding. Your center fielder and your leadoff hitter. Yeah, the Brewers outfield is starting to get a little bit more healthy. Christian Yelich on his way back. He might be back very soon. And Ryan Braun, Yelich, and Lorenzo Cain. That'd be nice to see those 3 out there.
2-2 pitch to Cain. Lorenzo off to a solid start. A little scary. The Brewers have had more than their share of injuries. As Rock mentioned, Christian Yelich hopefully back sooner than later, eligible to come off on Sunday. Whether that happens remains to be seen. We're expecting gorgeous weather for the first 2 games of this series, but on Sunday it's going to be a much nastier day. So we'll see how it works out and how that oblique feels with Yelich moving forward.
Yeah, you don't want to have him out there if the weather's a little bit cool, maybe some wet, some rain. Yeah, we'll see.
Payoff pitch to the game's opening hitter, and Cain draws a walk. That's how the night begins for the Brew Crew.
Well, let's check out the Mets defensively. They've committed 8 errors this year. Todd Frazier has 2 of them. You got Cespedes, Conforto, and Jay Bruce. You don't run on the guys in the corners. They got pretty good throwing arms. Frazier, Rosario, Cabrera, and Adrian Gonzalez from third to first, and Jose Lobaton, the catcher. The Mets have put 2 catchers on a disabled list, and Lobaton up from the minor leagues.
Here's Domingo Santana hitting second here tonight. Yes, the Mets have lost just this week Travis d'Arnaud, who's going to have Tommy John surgery next week. He's been injury plagued throughout his career. Kevin Plawecki suffered a hairline fracture in his hand, was hit by a pitch Wednesday night in Miami.
We got Lobaton, who has extensive major league experience. Then they brought a kid up from Double-A, the backup catcher,
Tomas Nido. That's where they are right now. A lot of speculation around here that the Mets are looking to make some type of a move. They don't think Plawecki will be out for too terribly long, maybe a couple 3 weeks. He's on the disabled list, and d'Arnaud's season has ended. The pitching staff has been healthy. Starters have been good. Bullpen even better.
Yeah, got to take advantage of opportunities against this club. They're doing just about everything very well right now.
The ball is strike to Domingo Santana.
And you're going to see fastball, low to mid 90s, 93, 94 for Matz. He will work inside. He's got a curveball and a changeup.
And draws a walk to begin this game. A ball, 2 strikes to Domingo Santana. Matz has dealt with elbow trouble. Last year his season didn't begin until June 10th. 8 years ago he had Tommy John surgery. Was off to a really good start in 2015, but had to be shut down because of a torn muscle in his back. Has had his share, one of several on this Mets staff the last few years who have had a world of trouble staying healthy.
Yeah, making career start number 3 against Milwaukee here tonight. 1-1 so far.
The 1-2 as Cain bluffs as though he'll steal.
Good to see him even attempting, or maybe even looking like he's going to steal with that quad issue that he had to sit out a couple of days. Always a little scary.
Good to have him back at the top of the order. Again, the 1-2, and Santana goes down swinging. Not able to catch up with that fastball from Steven Matz, and that's the first out of the night.
Yeah, let's check out our Pizza Ranch for the win here tonight. We talked about the left on base. There was too many in that series against the St. Louis Cardinals. You're going to have to take advantage of every opportunity against this Mets pitching staff, both the starters and the bullpen, and very important for the starting rotation. Stretch it out a little bit, take the pressure off that Brewers bullpen.
Yeah, Craig Counsell has been really getting some good work out of the bullpen until it became closing time, and that's where the issues, and it's understandable to some extent without their all-star closer Corey Knebel. Here's Ryan Braun. As Counsell has mentioned, that his team trying to get a little bit more offense, or more than a little more offense, and it could start with this guy. Now, the 2 home runs he has have been big home runs, game winning. Still trying to catch that groove here in this first month of the season.
Well, you figure he's going to get going at some point. As Ryan Braun goes, ordinarily, at least historically, that's pretty much the way the Brewers offense goes. When he gets on base and he's a threat, everybody gets pitched a little bit differently.
Strikeout total has been uncommonly high for Braun in the first couple weeks of the season. But those 2 homers and 6 RBIs have been pivotal long balls and runs driven in. The Brewers are so far the masters of the 1-run games. Cain on the run. The pitch is low and the throw is wide. And Lorenzo Cain has second base.
Yeah, had a good jump. Normally a little more difficult to get a jump off the lefty. Went on the first move, and just not a very good throw by Lobaton. The arm dropped, the ball sailed, and not even close. So the Brewers have a man in scoring position. Check out the throw. Hits Cain in the foot, I think, slows it down a little bit.
Came up grimacing for a bit, but he remains in there, good to go.
So much for that quad issue, right?
Guess
Taking
he's
off
all
right
right.
away.
Good to see. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Ryan Braun. Cain a walk and a stolen base. The sample sizes against Steven Matz are very, very small for everybody in the lineup tonight. This crowd maybe stirring early and often here in New York, and that's off to a franchise best 10-1 start. 2-2 pitch. Brewers making Matz work a little bit here in the first couple 3 batters of the game. Quite the challenge this series for Milwaukee. Matt Harvey goes tomorrow. Noah Syndergaard on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, ordinarily you're going to say let's get get into the bullpen, when you have starters like that, but their bullpen's been every bit as good as their starters, if not better.
Braun with a ground ball to Rosario. The shortstop puts it away for out number 2. Yeah, that bullpen for the Mets features a couple guys who could be back into the rotation starters. Robert Gsellman, Seth Lugo. They have been rolling. Juris Familia healthy.
6 saves already.
Missed a huge chunk of last season with that blood clot in early May. Kept him out for a long time. Here's Travis Shaw. All right, an early sample here. If talk about what's an important aspect for the Brewers this weekend, you got a runner in scoring position, early opportunity. Brewers numbers the last 8 games, just 148 runners in scoring position.
Too many left on. Getting on base, but not coming up with a big hit.
And yet still won 2 out of 3 against St. Louis. The Cardinals had similar issues. You see Counsell's group in those early games, a 3 in San Diego to open the season, and then First two against the Cardinals at Miller Park, pretty good. Since then, it has been a struggle. Ground ball to Adrian Gonzalez, and that'll do it for the Brewers in the first inning. A leadoff walk, a stolen base, but that's it as Mats gets through the first inning unscathed. And now Zach Davies ready to face the Mets in the bottom of the first. But is left stranded there as Mickey Callaway in his first year as the Mets manager. A terrific 5-year run as the Cleveland Indians pitching coach and a terrific start to his managerial career. 10 wins in 11 games. Here's the Mets batting order presented by Potawatomi. Michael Conforto as Drupal Cabrera. Yoenis Cespedes at the top. Bruce Gonzalez and Frazier 4 through 6. Rosario, Jose Lobaton, Steven Matz rounding out the Mets batting order. That's the group that faces Zach Davies here tonight. Michael Conforto. Pretty good story for him just to get back in. He's returned about a month earlier than expected. A shoulder injury in late August of last year ended his season. He was thought to be out until May. Came off the DL April 5th.
Yeah, doing a good job in that leadoff spot. On base percentage near 480, so he's off to a good start. It's going to be a good lineup throughout the year for the Mets. They're averaging 5 runs a game so far.
Conforto goes the other way down the line, and that is a fair ball. And Conforto has a leadoff double into the left field corner.
Boy, that was a late call down there. Third base umpire Chris Guccione didn't make a call for quite some time. Either fair or foul. He didn't make a call until very late. Not sure why he ran down in the corner. He wasn't that far when he made the call.
Conforto walking back well off the bag right now, and I think they're going to say it's a foul ball. Never mind, says Chris Guccione.
He pointed in fair territory as if it was a fair ball and then changed his mind.
Pointed the wrong way. He is.
It is the first inning after all.
Exactly.
I mean, guys, you know, day off yesterday. It's all right, Chris. It's a long night. Many other opportunities.
No big argument from anyone. Well, you see the numbers with Zach in those first 2 starts at home on the road. He has just been terrific. And that's been a story of his career so far.
Yeah, roughed up his first time out against St. Louis, but against the Cubs, very good. 6 innings, only 1 run.
And there was a conversation with Sophia Minner talking about making some adjustments to start his season better. His starts, you know, you go back the first couple of years for him, starts of games have been very choppy. Starts of seasons have been choppy, but Very good outing against the Cubs, trying to carry that over tonight. And a changeup takes care of Michael Conforto, and a strikeout to begin the bottom of the first.
Man, that's the pitch that was really good for him against Chicago his last time out. That changeup is always in his hip pocket. Nice location too, 80 miles an hour, down and away. That's where he won it.
So they take away the double. Davies takes advantage, gets himself a strikeout of Michael Conforto. And now here is Asdrubal Cabrera, second baseman, entering this game with a 10-game hitting streak. That's taking care of business in their most recent series against Miami, a game where they did not get a hit until the 7th inning of the game against the Marlins. They managed to put up a big inning and went on to take care of Don Mattingly's team.
Yeah, that's all about the pitching, right? I mean, you get no hit for just about the entire game, and your pitching holds them down, and you're able to win a game.
Ball 2 strikes to Cabrera. Moved over to second base, was asked to make that move last year, didn't particularly care for it. And that's where he is now with Rosario, the shortstop. And Cabrera turns on this, and that is a fair ball into the right field corner. And that will be a double for Asdrubal Cabrera. One out, runner at second in the home half of the first.
Yeah, 1-2 pitch. Davies tried to come up and in on him, didn't get it in there. And check it out. Check out Bandy setting up on the inside part of the plate. Looked like a cutter. That really didn't do a whole lot. And this one's certainly fair, just inside that right field line.
So the Mets with a runner in scoring position. Cabrera off to a hot start at the plate. Yoenis Cespedes, more of a mixed bag. He's driving in runs. His 10 RBIs leads this Mets team, but he has been striking out at a very frequent pace. 20 punch-outs for him already in 51 plate appearances.
Got to be careful. This guy got about as good as power as anybody in the game, and you see what he's been able to do against Milwaukee, hitting almost 400.
With 4 home runs against the Brew Crew. The 1-0 pitch. The pop in the bat of Cespedes is a team, though, that isn't relying all that heavily on the home run ball. They're doing a lot of the little things. Bottom line is they're doing just about everything right. Defense has been solid. Break-even pitch. One of the notes from the Brewers win on Wednesday, they did not commit an error. They had booted at least one in 9 straight games, but they were clean against St. Louis on Wednesday afternoon.
That's the way you win 3-2 games, right? Don't give them extra outs.
So walls 1 strike to Cespedes. Back to the change.
It's a good movement on that changeup. Not only is he pulling the string on it and just diving down and into right-handers. Look at this. That ball just disappears as it gets to home plate. Good pitch.
One out, 1 on in the first inning. Davies with a 2-2 pitch. First road starts this year for Zach Davies. He is 16-5 away from Miller Park with a 2.86 ERA is Davies. Payoff pitch. And that's a base hit to center field. Cabrera will turn third and score an RBI single for Yoenis Cespedes to give the Mets the early lead.
They left that one right down the middle of the plate. And that's what the Mets have been doing, the little things. Get a man in scoring position, drive him in. Not the big home run totals, but Cespedes drives in another one. He's got 11 RBIs. Check out where this one ends up. Middle in, and Cespedes hits it hard back through the middle. 1-0 Mets. You want to be falling too far behind against this group.
RBI number 11 in this young season for Cespedes, and here's Jay Bruce. Brewer fans well aware of the damage that Bruce has put on this Brewers team through the years. Jay Bruce takes on Zach Davies today by AARP. Bruce's career against Davies. See what he's done. The one hit, a homer. He's rolled into a couple of double plays. Shift is on for the Mets right fielder. So return to New York for Bruce. He's traded to the Indians last season. Signed again with the Mets back in January. Three-time All-Star in his years with the Cincinnati Reds.
Joey's had very good opposite field power, left center, gap to gap. Always seems to get hot when the Brewers come into town.
35 career bombs he has against Milwaukee.
Man, that's a lot.
The Mets have done to Davies what they are doing to pitchers throughout baseball these first couple of weeks, similar to what the Brewers did last year, scoring runs in the first inning. 2-1 pitch. Bruce sends one into left field. Room for Ryan Braun at the track. And that's out number 2.
They gave that one a pretty good ride. Opposite field power for Jay Bruce, got under it enough for Ryan Braun to be able to get underneath it. Barreled it up.
2 outs. Cespedes the runner at first for Adrian Gonzalez, 36-year-old. He is off to a good start for this Mets team. Traded by the Dodgers to the Braves, where he was there for a couple of days. Braves let him go, signs a deal with the Mets, with the Braves pretty much picking up the tab this season.
Yeah, had an awful lot of injuries last year. He's got a bad back. I just wonder how long Gonzalez is going to be able to play this year with that back issue.
Much of the trouble that Jay Bruce has given Milwaukee, much the same for Gonzalez in his career. Big years with the San Diego Padres. He slaps one to Jesus Aguilar. He'll handle it unassisted, and that'll do it for the Mets in the first, but a scoring inning off Zach Davies with Brew 1. It's 1-0 Mets.
The first bobblehead giveaway this season is set for Sunday, April 22nd. The Brewers host the Marlins. And all fans in attendance will take home an Eric Thames bobblehead, courtesy of Toyota. Visit Brewers.com for tickets.
Eric Thames having another nice month of April in the power department. With a lefty on the mound tonight for the Mets, Jesus Aguilar gets the start at first base, and Jesus leads off this second inning. Brewers had a mild threat to the first. Lorenzo Cain, a leadoff walk, stole second, but advanced no further. Santana a strikeout, Braun a ground ball, likewise Travis Shaw.
Hey, Craig Counsell loaded his lineup up with right-handers. Only Travis Shaw batting from the left side.
Counsell's team comes in 7-6. 0-2 pitch to Aguilar, and that's hit in the air to left field. Cespedes on the run, reaches up, and what a catch up against the wall.
They're taking care of business on both ends are the New York Mets right now. That's a heck of a running catch by Cespedes up against the wall. Well, good contact that time for Aguilar. Looked like a changeup up in the zone. And look at the catch, taking away extra bases from Jesus. Yep. That's the way it goes sometimes.
Here's Hernan Perez. Perez homered on Wednesday against the Cardinals. He and Eric Thames went deep in that 3-2 win against St. Louis.
Yeah, Brewers like to see Hernan Perez get hot. Off to a bit of a slow start.
Yeah, that home
time's
run.
a little choppy for him. I'm sorry, man.
That home run, just one of 2 hits for Hernan here so far. Two 2-1 pitch. Go back to Wednesday afternoon against Adam Wainwright here, Rock, as Perez takes him deep. Powerball home run count, first of the year for Hernan Perez.
Yeah, first pitch fastball, and he got all of it. Brewers 3-2 victory.
Sends a lazy fly ball into shallow right field. Jay Bruce will handle it for out number 2. With 2 away and the base is empty, here comes Orlando Arcia. Talked about Ryan Braun with a low batting average to begin the season. It's similar with Arcia, yet of the hits that he has, he won a couple of games that way and drew a bases loaded walk to beat the Cardinals in extra innings on Monday night. The RBIs and hits few but timely.
Hey, remember Arcia got off to a slow start last year and really started to turn it on around June. Brewers are hoping for a better start out of him this year. A little bit more consistency, throughout the year.
Fastball from Matz, now 2 strikes and nothing to Arcia. 26-year-old out of Stony Brook, New York, Steven Matz elevates, and Arcia cannot catch up to it. Second strikeout for Matz as he retires the Brewers in order. We're through an inning and 1/2. That's with the early lead.
Inning and some injury updates for you. Manny Pina is still out for third straight game with right calf tightness. We spoke with him before the game, and he said he's still dealing with some tightness in that leg. It doesn't affect him catching, but he said the real test is when he gets onto the field and will run. So he said he'll continue to test that tomorrow, but they're still hopeful that he will not need any time on the disabled list. Another step forward today for Christian Yelich. He's been on the 10-day disabled list with an oblique injury, but Yelich did take batting practice in the cage today. He had started taking some dry swings Wednesday in St. Louis. So for him to get into the cage today was a good step forward. Playing catch on the field, throwing as well. He'll do that on the field tomorrow, and that'll be the final test to see if he's ready to be activated on Sunday for the series finale. So overall, some good steps forward there, Matt Rock.
All right, Sophia, thanks. Much needed good steps forward. This team's been banged up, right? To be 7-6, you can look at the coulda, shouldas, but they've won 5 one-run games. They've had 5 one-run games, so they are finding a way to keep their heads above water this first month so far.
Yeah, Christian took some swings in the batting cage, before the game today. Said he felt pretty good. Tomorrow, if all goes well, maybe taking some batting practice on the field. That'd be a good step for him.
2 balls, 1 strike to Todd Frazier, leading off the home half of the second, and he hits one back into deep center field, and Lorenzo Cain can only watch as it is gone. A home run. Solo blast for Todd Frazier, his 2nd of the year. Check it, make it his 1st of the year, and it's now 2-0 Mets.
Yeah, dead center. It's 408 out there, and Todd Frazier, he's going to get his. He's a good hitter. Man's third base very well. Center cut, 86. There's a cutter. He's having a difficult time with that pitch here tonight. It was a cutter that Cespedes got for a base hit, and this one way back in center.
So his first as a Met, Todd Frazier. There's Ahmed Rosario, shortstop. That's runs here in each of the first 2 innings. Mentioning they scored a run off Davies in the first. They have scored in the first inning. The Mets have now in 9 of their first 12 games. That's a Brewers-like stat from last year.
Yeah, and that's a big deal when you have the pitching that the Mets have. You get a lead, you get the opposition on their heels, and then you throw that big-time pitching at them.
A chance for Orlando Arcia. There's the first out of the second. I mentioned the Brew Crew with some come-from-behind wins as well, and that's going to be the path tonight if they can put some runs on the board against this Mets staff. New York getting to Davies here early on. Carlos Subero, the first base coach there with Craig Counsell, also organizes the infield defense. Jose Lobaton.
That's a full-time job. Infield defense, it changes pitch to pitch. It changes whatever the count might be. A lot going on in that Brewers defense. Of course, a lot of teams do it.
It was an interesting chat we had with Carlos in spring training, and he was giving us an idea of when they shift and why, and more modest defense here, more of a shade, not really a shift to Lobaton.
And why they put certain players in certain spots. You want the one with the best range in that short roving position in right field.
Right now that player is Hernan Perez. That's where Carlos Subero wants to line him up. There he is. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Lobaton. Range, arm strength, and there are certain alignments. For instance, if Eric Sogard is in the lineup playing second base, you could see Orlando Arcia looping over to that short grass, or the grass in short right field.
There's a lot more to coaching these days than it was 20 years ago.
A lot of information to pour through, huh?
Yeah, amazing. Brewers scouting department, I mean, they have reams and reams of paper information that they hand to the coaches, and they sift through that, and they only give the players so much of that. If the players saw the amount of information that the coaches had to go through, their head would spin. Amazing stuff.
Say, if you come to the ballpark, or when you come to the ballpark, watch the alignment of the infield, pitch to pitch. Interesting part of the game now. Everybody does it, and the shifting continues to increase year by year.
Stacks and stacks of papers that the coaches get on the plane. You know, they'll get stuff on, you know, Cincinnati right after the game here in New York, and they're going to be going through that stuff on the plane to be ready for Monday.
3-2 pitch to Lobatone, and he steers one down the left field line. Ryan Moore cannot get it, and Lobatone will have at least 2. He's going to try for 3, and he will get there. A triple. Just called up from AAA Las Vegas, Jose Lobatone, a triple down the left field line.
Yeah, switch hitter down in the minor leagues. He had some time with the Washington Nationals. And you see him going to the opposite field. You don't see many triples to left, but there's one way to get it. Yeah, Ryan Braun trying to make the catch, got by him, and even the catcher able to cruise on into third base.
It's already have had a Todd Frazier home run in the second. Now a triple from Lobatone, and the pitcher Steven Matz at the plate. Infield in here for the Crew. Early in the game, but a bit of a danger zone right now for Milwaukee. They take care of the pitcher here. 1 strike offering. Shoot one down the right field line.
Exactly. Even some pitches upstairs. Can't do that.
Two strikes or nothing. Davies versus Steven Matz with Lobatone the runner at third. Dearly used a strikeout right here. Michael Conforto is on deck. The 0-2. That's staying alive.
You don't see too many guys that throw left-handed and bat right-handed. That's a rarity in baseball.
He's driven in 8 in his career. Two-strike pitch, and there's that badly needed strikeout. Out number 2 here in the second. Second strikeout early on for the Brewers starter. The lineup turns over for Michael Conforto. He was strikeout victim number 1.
Really good changeup to get him on strikes his first time up.
Trying to wiggle out of this after a Jose Lobatone triple. Matt strikes out. Conforto takes ball 1. Mention that shoulder injury for Conforto. He suffered his swing in the bat, dislocated it in a swing in a game against the Houston Astros. It was last August 24th. Young player in their system. It's a first-round pick back in 2014.
Yeah, that's a healthy hack. You dislocate your shoulder.
That is. Played his college ball at Oregon State. was an all-star last year. 27 home runs for Conforto. Here's the 2-1. Choppy start here tonight for Zach Davies. Gave up a run on the first. As Ruben Cabrera double. Yoenis Cespedes picked him up with a base hit. Todd Frazier has homered. Lobatone has tripled. 3-1 to Conforto.
He's got good movement on that two-seam fastball. Got some good tail to it, but he's left a couple of them down the middle of the plate. He's really on to the left-handers. He's backdoor and that two-seamer starts off the inside corner, catches the edge.
Getting ready for the payoff pitch to the Mets center fielder. We'll need another one. Mets already with 4 hits in this game. Early game troubles here for Zach Davies. Again, the 3-2. Little bloop. Will it hang up long enough for Shaw? Yes, it will. Side retired. So they strand a runner at third, but a Todd Frazier homer makes it 2-0 Mets after 2. Two 2-0 Mets over the Brew Crew. Mickey Callaway in his first year as manager has his team off to its best ever start, but you know what, Rock, it doesn't guarantee you a whole lot.
Right. Well, 10-1, not a bad start, but you're right. I mean, it's early on. Teams are still trying to figure themselves out, but hey, first 11 games, that's not bad. Especially with the way they're doing it. I think that's that stands the test of time. I mean, good solid pitching, playing defense. Those are the things that win long term.
Jet Bandy leading off here the third for the Brew Crew.
But you always have that injury thing that you have to deal with throughout the year. Brewers got bit by it early, and hopefully it's going to come to an end.
Jet Bandy just gets hit by a pitch. 94-mile-an-hour offering from Matz.
Not even close. Interesting. Went down and in like that. Got him on the foot, I believe. That's saying what I do.
There's Zach Davies.
Wasn't a foot. It was a leg.
wasn't even close.
No, it wasn't. Davies trying to move the runner up, and a good bunt. Gonzalez covering Cabrera for out number 1. Good bunt by Davies as Bandy moves to second. Second time tonight, the Brewers with a runner in scoring position. Lorenzo Cain was the first. Walked and stole second, but was stranded there.
Zach's always done a good job dropping down bunts, you know, doing little things like that, advancing base runners, helping his own cause.
Led the big leagues last year, as a matter of fact, with 14 sacrifice bunts. Here's Lorenzo Cain. Good to see him steal a base. The quad injury kept him out Tuesday and Wednesday in St. Louis, but showed everybody the wheels are fine, ready to go. On this, his 32nd birthday.
That's right. You wish him a happy birthday.
You know, I forgot. I feel kind of bad about it.
You know,
Did
he
you?
came. No, I didn't. We were standing in the dugout, and he came in through the clubhouse, and he looked kind of focused. I didn't feel like.
No happy talk.
Yeah, it didn't look like he was into it.
He was locking in.
Yeah.
The ball, a strike.
He's still focused. He's upset with himself. He didn't drive that one somewhere.
What's that one back? 1-2 the count. Well, Sophia reported this team slowly but surely is getting back to health. A big hit early for this team to miss Cain for a couple of games, and then Yelich in the DL.
I mean, the biggest one is the Corey Knebel injury, for sure. You lose your closer, especially early in the season when everything's trying to get itself worked out in the bullpen. Kind of throws things a little bit of turmoil, but you know, the guys will figure it out. Corey's going to be out for a while.
Yeah, it's the weird thing when you tell people that the Brewers bullpen has been pitching pretty well, they can look at you funny, but it really has. But that 9th inning, you know, the blown saves, the stat is real, and yet in the comeback wins, the bullpen has been a big reason why they've been able to come back, hold the opposition down,
right,
setting it up for late Brewers rallies. Payoff pitch to Cain, and he has just walked for the second time tonight. Runners at first and second with 1 out against Matz here in the 3rd.
Yeah, Matt just can't figure out that fastball end to the right-hander. He hit Bandy, tried to come inside on Cain a couple of times, and he missed.
Another opportunity here. Matz has done something tonight he had not done in his 2 previous career starts against the Brewers, and that's issue walks. RBI chance for Domingo Santana. Broken bat. That's Rosario. Cabrera for 1. Ronda Gonzalez for the double play. 6-4-3. Inning over, and the threat just like that is turned back. So a hit batsman, a walk, and Ahmed Rosario begins this 6-4-3 double play. 2-0 Mets in the 3rd. interesting man in sports. You get opinion that cuts through the hype. Speak for yourself with Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock. Weekdays at 4 p.m. Central, only on FS1.
Which is which? Is it interchangeable?
I think it's interchangeable.
Okay.
Yeah. That'd be my. I would go with that.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
Go to safe route, huh?
Cabrera leading off here the third for the Mets. He has scored in each of the first 2 innings. By the way, our thanks to you being our tour guide yesterday on our off day. Showing a few of us around. Nice little gathering last night.
We got lost for a brief period of time, but I think we made it.
It was all right. We got there.
Took the subway to Little Italy. Went to Lombardi's for some pizza.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
We crushed it.
There was 4 of us, and we had what, 3 pies?
We did. We were hungry. Cabrera with a fly ball into center field, and Lorenzo Cain right on it at the track for out number 1. Well, yeah, we had Augie, Craig Kashawn with, so we had some guys who know how to take care of business when putting down some pizza, so that was good.
Yeah, it was easy. I mean, a couple of blocks to the 6 train, downtown to Spring Street. Pretty easy.
It was a beautiful night. Good time. Good time. Good to have Craig back with us here for the next several days. Brewers Live. He's a busy man.
Yes, he is.
Bucks playoffs starting on Sunday.
Now he was in Philly, on Wednesday, right? Doing a game.
Yep.
Day off yesterday, and you know how long the train ride is from Philly to New York?
Not very.
What, hour?
Thereabouts.
He flew.
Well, when you're big, you're big.
Big time. You don't have to mess around with your own luggage.
It's good to be Craig.
Yeah, I'm big into train travel. It's very comfortable. Nice views.
I enjoyed that 20-minute plane ride, whatever it was. 2 strikes to nothing to Yoenis Cespedes. RBI single for the left fielder in the first inning. Bounces one to Shaw. Long throw for Travis, and safe at first is Cespedes. 1 out and 1 on in the third.
Yeah, well, he had to decide whether to charge it and take the easy hop going back. He decided to lay back on it, and Cespedes gets down that line extremely well. His second hit. And playing deep behind the bag, decides to play back on it to get that easy hop, and too late. Good pick by Aguilar.
Second hit for Cespedes. That's getting some things done with 2 strikes. 5 hits, 4 of them coming with 2 strikes. Here's Jay Bruce. Fly ball to Ryan Braun his first trip. (31) years old now, Bruce. Power numbers in his career 5 times, 5 seasons. He's hit at least 30. Trade last year helped the Indians to the postseason. Well, they lost that 5-game divisional round series to the Yankees after winning the first 2 games. The Yankees took the last 3.
Has been a good run producer and terrific out in right field.
Big arm.
You don't run on him. You don't run on that guy at first either, and left.
Yeah, Yoenis Cespedes, he has had multiple highlight reel material. Long throws to get runners, trying to take the extra base. 1-1 pitch to Bruce. One out. Cespedes the runner at first. Here's the 2-1.
Good off-speed pitch right there, and a fastball count. Hey, Bruce pulling his head. He's thinking about hitting a long ball there. Looking fastball, gets the changeup.
Davies with a couple of strikeouts so far. Here's the 2-2. Pitch count starting to creep up there in the third inning. The staff has to grind through starters and the bullpen to get through games so far in the first couple of weeks.
And when Zach Davies really is on his game, he gets a lot of outs early in counts. Pitches that look like strikes end up being out of the zone. Soft contact.
Payoff pitch. Cespedes is running. It's ball 4 to Bruce.
And having a difficult time with his control tonight. Not so much the base on balls, but not having control within the strike zone, leaving pitches out over the plate. He's having a difficult time with that cutter tonight.
First mound conference is Jet Bandy trying to get things straightened out here with Zach. I mentioned it at the top, Rock. Council needs some extended work out of that starting rotation. Off day yesterday, and that was much needed. You don't want to be digging into that bullpen early again. It's been a tough trend for this club so far.
You got a stretch. You're going to have a few games in a row, and that's going to tax that bullpen. So you don't want to really put too much on them right away.
This is the first of a 10-game stretch in as many days. Here is Adrian Gonzalez. This is where Davies could really use a ground ball. Gonzalez grounded to Aguilar to win the first inning. Cespedes the runner at second. Jay Bruce at first. Curveball to even the count.
Yeah, look at the location down and away. Perfect. Not going to do much with this pitch where it ends up. Well done.
Gonzalez had big years with the Padres, had some big years with the Dodgers as well. All-star with LA. There's a ground ball to Aguilar. Arcia 1, Davies for 2, and there is that much needed ground ball that Zach Davies was able to get off the bat of Adrian Gonzalez. 3-6-1 on the double play, ending the Mets' threat. It remains 2-0 Mets after 3.
head to the 4th. Checking in on the Brewers minor league system with our UW Whitewater Warhawks scouting report. Taking a look at Corey Ray. What a tremendous start for him in AA with the Biloxi Sugars on the season. A .333 average, a home run, 2 triples, and a big day at the plate for him yesterday, going 3 for 4 with a double and 5 RBIs. He is currently ranked as the 5th best prospect for the Crew.
All right, thanks much, Sophia. Ryan Braun leads things off. It'll be interesting to watch Corey Ray, Rock. That second year back after the knee injury. He kind of wore on him last year, but it's a guy with a lot of tools.
Yeah, no kidding. And good to see him healthy and off to a good start. First rounder a few years ago for the Brewers. And it's another of the many talented outfielders that the Brewers have, not just in the major leagues, but down in the minor leagues.
Continue to build that organizational depth. Still a very strong farm system, even with the big trade to get Christian Yelich. Ron hits it hard, but Todd Frazier gobbles it up, and there's the first out of the 4th.
Yeah, we're going to see Lewis Brinson on the homestand next week. He's with the Marlins. Having a bit of a rough stretch right now, but I hope for the best for it, Lewis.
4-game set. Yeah, Marlins have lost 9 of their first 12 as they have reload mode. A lot of different terms for it, of course, but Marcelo Zuna moving from there to the St. Louis Cardinals, and Yelich, of course, to the Brew Crew among their moves. There's Travis Shaw grounded out to Adrian Gonzalez in the first inning. Crew looking for its first hit. Lorenzo Cain has walked twice. Jet Bandy has been hit by a pitch, which for Jet has become a fairly regular occurrence. That's the 3rd time he's been plunked this year.
Yeah, what, about 17 at bats?
Exactly.
Right.
1-2 to Shaw. Earlier today, the Cubs were shut out at home by the Atlanta Braves. Cubs a little up and down in the opening month of the season. Little tapper got by Matz. Cabrera, and the throw in time. Just in time.
Yeah, they'll take a look at that in the dugout. Yeah, didn't get it very good, but it looked like Cabrera took a little while to get to it. And Shaw nearly beat it out. Well, he got him.
And that is out number 2 in the 4th inning.
Travis thinks he's out. He's almost back to the dugout.
Trying to bust it up the line.
Ran over the first base umpire, bringing him up.
Travis does many things well, but he's not a fast runner, and that allowed Cabrera, gave him the time to make the play.
You know what? You can work on just about anything in this game, but you can't work on that.
That's true. Only so much. You take what's given to you there, right?
I'm sure there's some track stars that would argue with me, but you're either fast or you're not. I bet you had some speed back in your day.
Way back in the day. And then by the time I was in 6th grade, it was over.
That was it.
Wasn't very big, but I was slow.
Yeah.
The old line. Jesus Aguilar, 2 outs, base is empty. Jesus had one taken away from him in the 2nd inning. A nice catch up against the wall by Yoenis Cespedes.
The only hard hit ball the Brewers have had tonight.
The last 5 outs have been ground balls. Here's the 1-2. And that is hit well into left center field, and that is off the wall. Aguilar digging for second, and he is in. Boy, he has hit the ball hard twice tonight, and this time he's rewarded with a 2-out double.
He can hit, can he? he's able to stay on the baseball even when he didn't get a whole lot of playing time. And I know we talk about this all the time when he's in the lineup, and how difficult it is to stay sharp when you're not getting consistent at bats. And he has barreled up twice here tonight. And a 2-out double.
Another opportunity with a runner in scoring position. Brewers had runners at first and second in the third inning, and Matt's got Domingo Santana to ground into a double play. First hit of the night, and it belongs to Jesus Aguilar. 2 outs here in the fourth inning. Hernan Perez and a fly ball to right in the second inning. With that home run yesterday that Hernan hit in St. Louis, or rather on Wednesday in St. Louis, can help get him going. And that is hit well into left center field, and that is gone. A home run. Hernan Perez, maybe he does have it going, as he just tied the game, launching one over the wall in left center.
Boy, talk about two guys back to back that just hits rockets. Aguilar, now Perez. Hernan got a fastball, pretty much the same location. Yeah, the one that Aguilar got for a double. Well, 2 outs, nobody on, double homer. We're all tied up. I think that was a changeup, actually, not a fastball. Changeup up in the zone. No fastball, 92 miles an hour. I'll get it right. And just does clear that wall. Tied it up.
Here's Arcia. Looks at a fastball for strike one. Second home run in as many games now for Hernan Perez. Solo shot in St. Louis. 2-run shot tonight.
Fastball up, pretty much down the middle of the plate. Aguilar and Perez.
Mats did not give up a hit for the first 3 2/3. Aguilar a double, Perez a home run. Just like that, we're tied at 2. 2-strike pitch to Aguilar. Able to hold up, says Larry Vanover. Here comes the 1-2. Arcia struck out in the second inning. One of 2 strikeout victims for Matt so far. Upstairs with a fastball to even the count. One into right field, but it carries out a play. Last year we saw Orlando Arcia start to break through with the bat. Knew about the glove. Chopper over to Todd Frazier. And that'll do it for the Brewers in the fourth, but Brewers get on the board with 2 men out. Aguilar a double, and then Hernan Perez takes Mats out of here, and we are tied at 2 as we move to the bottom of the fourth. Hey, it's an MLB doubleheader Saturday on FS1. First at 3 p.m. The Rangers take on reigning AL MVP Jose Altuve and the defending champion Astros. Then Mike Trout and the Angels take on the Royals. Happens tomorrow on FS1. We're streaming live on Fox Sports Go. That's Jose Altuve. Rock, he's a pretty good player.
Yeah, he's not bad.
He's okay.
Yeah.
Altuve. Can't speed read those promos now.
Even the professionals get them wrong once in a while. Just do that to make me feel good. I keep saying that.
Here to help the ball club.
Yeah.
Todd Frazier leads off.
Other game, the Angels. How about Ohtani? Triple yesterday. Guy's for real, huh?
Reading a piece in this morning's USA Today. Even Babe Ruth's grandson is saying that's pretty good. Here's Frazier with a drive to left field, and the Mets regain the lead. His second home run tonight. 3-2 New York.
Brewers certainly saw enough of Todd Frazier when he was with Cincinnati and continues to do big damage here in New York against the Brewers. That two-seam fastball, tried to get it down and in. He left it up a little bit. It was in, but up. Todd Frazier turns it around. Line drive out of here to left.
You're right. Big power years with the Reds, the White Sox, for that matter. In a year and a half he was there. 16 with the White Sox. Frazier homered 40 times. Here's Ahmed Rosario.
Zach Davies came into the game allowing only one home run first two starts, 2 tonight.
First 2 of the season for Frazier. Rosario a swing and a miss.
Every inning's been a battle for Davies tonight.
And that's with runs in the first 2 innings and a threat in the third. They had runners at first and second with 1 out, but Davies was able to get a double play ground ball from Adrian Gonzalez, and then Todd Frazier a moment ago leads off the 4th with his second long ball of the night.
Yeah, already 71 pitches for Zach. Nobody out in the 4th.
1-2 to Rosario. Young shortstop, 22 years old. Was considered their top prospect last year. Wasn't called up to the big club last season until the beginning of August. Payoff pitch coming to Rosario. Comebacker, nice stop by Davies. There's out number 1. Coming in hot.
It fields his position very well. Just, you know, the way he finishes his delivery, he's squared up to the hitter and making himself a pretty good fielder, able to snare that one. That was right at him. Control pitchers normally field their positions pretty well. They're on balance when they get rid of it, and they put themselves in good positions to be able to field.
Here is Jose Lobaton. He tripled in the second inning. Been known in his 8-year big league career as more of a defensive help behind the plate. He has been a very light hitter in his career. But that was his 4th career triple. Change up from Davies. Just called up. And without Travis d'Arnaud for the rest of the year, he'll have Tommy John surgery in the coming days. Kevin Plawecki out for the next few weeks. Hairline fracture of his left hand when he was hit by a pitch in Miami.
Yeah, and you would think on the surface that would be a big deal. I mean, both of your catchers gone, the 2 guys that have been with this team all throughout spring training. They've been there a couple of years, and it might take a while for this pitching staff to get used to him, but it doesn't seem like Matz is having much of an issue with it.
He was cruising along until 2 outs in the top half of this inning when Aguilar doubled and Perez homered. Curveball misses and the count is full. This will be the 80th pitch of the night here for Davies. Just 1 out of the 4th inning.
And he's due up second in the 5th.
One out, base is empty. That's with a run here in the 4th on the Frazier homer. Irv is fouled back. Robitone's most active year was with the Tampa Bay Rays, his final year there in 2013, appearing in 100 games. Much more sporadic work in his 4 years with the Nationals. Appeared in 51 games last season for Washington. Robitone goes down swinging. 3rd strikeout for Davies. That's out number 2.
That was a good cutter there. It might have been the best one he's thrown tonight. Looked like a fastball, pretty much of a 4-seamer. Then just as it gets to the plate, goes down and in on Robitone. That's a good pitch. You can see the rotation and just enough movement to get it off the bat.
With 2 away, Davies will face Steven Matz. Gave Zach a battle in his first at bat before finally striking out. Ball has Davies ahead 2 strikes and nothing. Settled back in after giving up that leadoff homer. And this is there, a ball 2 strikes.
That was better than the one before it.
Now the 1-2. Back to Davies again. And Zach does settle down, but Frazier touched him up with his 2nd homer of the game, leading off this 4th inning. It's Todd Frazier with a 2-homer night. Gives the Mets a 3-2 lead. Lottery from reminding you to please play responsibly. And by Ascension, coming together to give healthcare a better name. We are Ascension.
Hey, it's going to be a jam-packed homestand against the Reds and Marlins next week, filled with special promotions and discounts. A couple big-time giveaways, and even the season's first theme night. You can check out the complete schedule of events and reserve your tickets today at Brewers.com.
7-game homestand coming up. We'll get back into Central Division play with the Reds and that long stretch. Cardinals, Cubs, Cardinals again before coming to New York. And the Brewers again have to get back into catch-up mode. They fell behind early 2-0, tied the game in the top of the fourth on a Hernan Perez 2-run homer, and Todd Frazier gives the Mets the lead again. His second homer of the night in the bottom half of the inning. Bandy was hit by a pitch in the third. So this on the season is plate appearance number 18 for him. His hit by a pitch rate's pretty high.
How many is that for the year? If you extrapolate out, if he plays every day,
be a lot. He'd be a mess.
Yeah.
It's the start is Manny Pena, as Sophia reported, still working his way back.
Jed had a busy day yesterday. Was over at the MLB Network.
That's right. He's doing a nice Ryan Braun at the plate impression. Yeah, it's pretty good. And takes a look at strike 3 called here to begin the top half of the 5th inning. Third strikeout for Matz tonight.
Yeah, fastball in. He's starting to get a better feel for that pitch. I think he surprised Bandy because that had a little bit too much of the play, but I think Jed thinking away.
Here's Zach Davies.
We're told that's 101 hit batters if he gets what, 500 plate appearances.
That'd be some kind of a record, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would be.
A pace Jet would rather avoid.
It's pretty good for the on-base percentage.
It is.
I think the training staff run out of ice.
They would prefer walks. Two-one pitch to Davies. Zach laid down a sac bunt, his first appearance at the plate tonight, back in the 3rd inning. The 2-2. In the air, this will be Ahmed Rosario calling for it. And stumbling back to make the catch for out number 2.
Not the smoothest pop-up catch you ever see. That's why you stay on your toes on those pop-ups. You never know. Got a little bit of wind, but you know the way this field is, this ballpark's enclosed. You don't know how the wind's going to affect anything. Stay on the balls of your feet. And he's able to make the catch.
That's why you run them out, right? You never know. Here's Lorenzo Cain. A couple of walks for Cain tonight, a stolen base as well. Lorenzo got a good dose of this Mets ball club, part of that Royals team that won the World Series over the Mets in 2015. Before he was the American League Championship Series MVP.
Been on a big stage and performed well.
Drove in 4 in that World Series win over the Mets. A swing and a miss here. A couple of strikeouts for Matz in the inning. He has 4 in the game. And he retires the Brewers in order. Top of the order coming up for the Mets in the bottom of the 5th.
Brewers Community Foundation invited 70 nonprofit leaders to Miller Park, and these leaders learned more about the Brewers, and the team congratulated them for making a difference in our community. When we all play on the same team, everyone wins. Great event at Miller Park earlier this week. That was just Wednesday.
Thank you very much, Sophia. Great work in all areas of this ball club.
Miller Park busy even when the team's on the road.
Exactly right.
A lot going on.
Michael Conforto leads off for New York here in the bottom of the fifth. He has struck out and popped out to Travis Shaw. Conforto has had good starts each of the last 2 years. All-Star worthy a year ago. Ended up hitting .279. His on-base percentage was more than 100 points higher. Drove in 68 for the season-ending shoulder injury. Davies with the 2-2.
And leadoff hitters are hard to come by these days. Mention off to a good start with a batting average, on base percentage .440.
Another full count here for Zach Davies. There is that payoff.
Brewers have activity in their bullpen down there in right center.
Dan Jennings getting loose. He worked on Wednesday afternoon in St. Louis. Had a plate appearance, hit a double in that ball game. Extended at bat here for Conforto against Zach. Rick Counsell's watching that pitch count go up. Now into the 90s. We are just starting the bottom of the fifth.
Well, Davies threw 101 pitches his last time out against the Cubs. He got through 6 innings.
It was a very good outing for Zach. 4 hits and just the 1 run. No decision, a game that the Brewers were in position to win, but the Cubs had the big 9th inning. It was technically a blown save, but that was a night where Jacob Barnes, it really wasn't on him much at all. The defense let him down. The Cubs had the rally and took the game. Tenth pitch of the at bat coming up to Conforto. He lost him. Leadoff walk for the leadoff hitter for the Mets.
Rick Counsell would like to get extended innings, certainly to get through this 5th inning, but that pitch count getting into the danger zone. You got Cabrera here, the switch hitter, and then right-hander Cespedes. That might be it. Then you got a couple of lefties coming up.
Cabrera has made some hard contact here against Zach, a double and then a warning track fly ball. Cabrera was part of an interesting game last August under former manager Terry Collins. He was at second. Travis d'Arnaud had to play third because of a series of injuries. They ended up switching back and forth 18 times during the course of the game. Just trying to avoid any ground balls hit to d'Arnaud. They lost the game, but they played arrowless baseball. Interesting look at box score.
Yeah. Right-handed hitter up, you get Cabrera over there at third base.
That was the idea.
Left-hander up, put him at second.
Shortstop has been his position primarily in his career. All-Star years with the Indians. 1-1 pitch. Mets have scored a run in 3 of the first 4 innings tonight. And pitch number 100 of the evening coming up for Zach Davies. And that's through into center field. And the Mets have runners at first and second with nobody out.
Behind in the count, having to come in with a fastball, and Craig Counsell grinding over this one. I would imagine this is going to be Davies' last hitter. You got Bruce and Gonzalez coming up, the lefties. Fastball out over the plate on a 2-1 count, and finds a hole into center field.
And now Davies, well, if the Brewers go through with it, Davies will try to get Cespedes out for the first time tonight. Run scoring single from the left fielder in the first. Infield single in the third. Conforto at second. Cabrera at first. A strike to Cespedes. The average is low, strikeouts are high, but he has been especially effective, much more effective with men on base as opposed to when the bases are empty. A little hard but foul. 2 strikes and nothing now to Cespedes.
Yeah, that pitch way off the inside corner and down. Cespedes golfs it. That's been a grind for Davies tonight.
Ready into the triple digits. 0-2 the count. His hits have been with 2 strikes in this game. And he offered up. Wow. Says Larry Vanover, and that is a big strikeout for Davies. First out here in the 5th.
Yeah. Remember the cutter off the corner. Cespedes, according to Vanover, not able to hold up.
With a couple of lefties coming up, Counsell will make a move.
And you see the cutter never was a strike, and Cespedes can't check a swing.
Zach goes forward to third. Pitching change at Citi Field. 2 on, 1 out. As Dan Jennings will come in with the Mets leading the Brew Crew 3-2. First and second, he exits with his team down a run. And the Mets have a threat going. He did get a strikeout assessment. That was big as you look at the line there for Zach.
Yeah, the 4 1/3 is not what Craig Counsell was hoping for in the beginning of a stretch of 10 straight games. Putting a little bit more burden on that bullpen. It's going to be Jennings first out of the pen. And we saw him on Wednesday against the Cardinals. Retired all 5 batters that he faced. That included a strikeout.
Much needed inning and 2/3 out of the pen for Craig Counsell. Day off beneficial, giving all those arms a little bit of a break. And now lefty versus lefty for the next 2 hitters. Jay Bruce. He is followed by Adrian Gonzalez. Michael Conforto is the runner at second, as Drupal Cabrera is at first.
Left-handed batters are currently 0 for 7 against Jennings this year.
First inning, Bruce hit a fly ball to left for that 3rd inning walk. Yeah, they view Jennings as someone who could be more than a lefty specialist, but that stat you just mentioned, important right here, trying to keep this a 1-run game with a couple of left-handed hitters in the order coming up. A ball, a strike to Bruce. That is in there for strike 2 call.
And 91, good pitch. Well, the delivery can be a bit deceiving for these lefties. Down and in, 91. Once he starts, he's all arms and legs coming at you.
Ready with a 1-2 pitch to Jay Bruce. Let's try to add to this 1-run lead they have in the 5th inning. 2-2 pitch coming up to Bruce. Base hit into right center field. Conforto will score. Cut off shy of the track by Santana. Run scoring double for Bruce, and it's a 4-2 lead now for New York.
And with back-to-back sliders, the 0-2 slider, the 2-strike slider, the first one missed by maybe a 1/4 of an inch. Came back with it, got it a little bit further up in the zone, and Jay Bruce spanks it into the gap. He didn't get the call on the one down. Was forced to leave one up a little bit, and Jay Bruce able to hammer it out there into the gap to drive and run. Good job by Santana to cut it off and get it in quickly. Saved the run for the time being.
Yeah, Cabrera had to stop at third. That's now trying to pop this open a bit. Here is Adrian Gonzalez. Brewers bring the infield in. Fly ball, right center field. Calling for the brush between Santana and Kane. Tagging is Cabrera. He will score it. Kane was calling for it.
Kane's hurt.
Yeah, he is shaken up. And so is Santana, it looks like.
Yeah, not sure what they hit, but Lorenzo hobbling. Santana not feeling all that great. He's up against the wall. Well, both the left-handers for the Mets able to drive in runs off of Jennings. Yeah, big collision. Very fortunate that somebody caught it. It was Santana, and he got it in.
take a look at Santana.
Santana got the worst of it.
Kane was feeling it too. Says he's all right. Well, they want to take another look. Both athletic trainers, Dave Yeager and Dan Wright, are going to be out there to chat with Kane. It's been a tough week for Lorenzo Cain. A quad injury in St. Louis, and then this outfield collision tonight with Domingo Santana.
Yeah, it's been a tough beginning of the season for this Brewers team as far as injuries go. Well, they don't have an outfielder on the bench. I guess Eric Thames can go out there, or somebody had to leave the game. Yeah, they're both calling it, but center fielder has the right of way. He's the guy that's got to take it. If he calls it, somebody's got to catch it, but both of them banged up.
We're to talk about so many outfielders. How do you make sure they all get their at-bats? Now they are in a little bit of a tough spot. But those two guys, Kane and Santana, are going to play through it. A run in on the sacrifice fly from Gonzalez. Bruce moves to third. Todd Frazier, who has homered twice, steps to the plate.
You got Thames who can play left. You got Perez who can play the outfield. So there are options, but you don't want to have to go there. Somebody throwing something at Santana. Beanbag?
Yeah, looks like it. Oh, and 1 the count to Frazier. Shift is on for the third baseman. Jersey guy, had the chance to play with the Yankees last year. Advancing to the ALCS. Stays in the city, just a different uniform this year. 1-1 pitch.
Yeah, I guess if you're Jennings, you want to challenge him inside. Both of his home runs have been pitches on the inner half of the plate. Force him to take it to right here.
Here comes the 1-2. And that gets by Bandy. Here comes Bruce, and it's a 6-2 game. Another rough inning here for the Brew Crew.
Yeah, Jet trying to backhand the slider, and it got by him. And not even close at home plate. All right, disaster of an inning.
So that clears the bases on the wild pitch. 2-2 the count to Frazier.
Well, started with a leadoff walk. It's kind of the way it goes, doesn't it?
Sure is.
Those walks.
There were a ton of them in that 11 inning loss to the Cardinals on Tuesday. 8 of them, in fact, in that game. Payoff to Frazier. Conforto walked. Cabrera singled to center. Cespedes struck out. Jay Bruce an RBI double. Adrian Gonzalez a sacrifice fly, and then a wild pitch scoring Bruce. 3-run inning here for the Mets. The 3-2. Just foul. Yards number 7 for Jennings. The White Sox and the Rays a year ago. Rays let him go late in spring training. The 3-2. And another walk.
Yeah, tried to come inside, just missed the inside corner with it.
So this 5th inning continues for Ahmed Rosario, who was grounded to short. Did a comebacker to the mound. Six runs, 8 hits for the Mets. This is where any team would really be up against it. Long way to go, of course, but against this Mets pitching staff, starters and the bullpen. 4 runs, that is a big hill that the Brewers are going to have to try to climb. There's a liner in the center. Kane is there to make the catch. That'll do it for the Mets. A 3-run inning on just 2 hits. We're through 5. It's 6-2 New York.
(6-2) lead, and you'll never miss a second of the action with MLB.TV Premium. Enjoy HD streams of all out-of-market games on over 400 different devices. Plus, get a free MLB.com at-bat premium subscription when you sign up.
Brewers have a lot of work to do here in the top half of the 6th. Now down 4 to Steven Matz and the New York Mets. Santana, Braun, and Shaw. Santana goes the other way. Bruce going back and misplays it. It's off his glove and off the wall. Santana on his way into second.
Boy, talking about a misplay. We've been talking about how good defensively he has been throughout his career. That was just a kicked it. Misjudged it, went back right off the end of the glove. That'll probably be an E9, I would imagine. Just bad outfield play right there. Not more else you can say about that play. That ball's got to be caught. Let's see how they rule it here in New York.
You are correct in what you were suggesting there. It's E9. So opportunity here for the Brewers to start to chip away. Here's Ryan Braun. Braun tonight is grounded to short and also grounded to Frazier at third. Still trying to get it going consistently at the plate. Had some dramatic moments. Looking for some more consistency up there. And that's hit well into right center field. And that will be gone. A 2-run homer for Ryan Braun, and the Brewers pull within 2. There you go. A little home run power for the Brew Crew again tonight.
Yeah, well, when Ryan starts to do that, take him to the opposite field. Look out. Fastball out over the plate by Matz. Had some success coming inside on Ryan. Number 3 on the year for Braun. There you see it out over the plate and hits a big fly out there into the gap. Well, the Brewers not done yet. They get right back into it. An error and a home run, and the Brewers with a 2 spot. Still nobody out.
But you look at this lineup here tonight, and it's still without Christian Yelich, but this Brewers team has really struggled to score. But the look of the lineup, this is a chance to maybe bust out of it here a little bit, and they're showing some signs. Travis Shaw at the plate.
Brewers not the only team in Major League Baseball having a tough time of it offensively.
Well, you're right.
There's some good lineups that have really gotten off to a slow start.
Shaw becomes the 5th strikeout of the night for Steven Matz. Oh, you're right. The Dodgers, they've been shut out multiple times. And it's just been even the Cardinals, they left a lot of men on base in the series against the Brewers. I think Callaway is going to make a double switch here as it looks like the night will end for Steven Matz. Gave up with 3 hits, but 2 of them were homers. Both of the 2-run variety. One to Hernan Perez in the 4th, and then Ryan Braun here in the 5th. Pitching change as the Brewers trying to rally at 6-4 New York. Enters the game. He's the new shortstop for Mickey Callaway's bunch. And on the mound is Seth Lugo. Rocking all those 2 starters out of the rotation now who are members of the bullpen.
Yeah, well, Lugo last pitched on the 8th against the Nationals. He picked up a win. He went 3 innings. So, yeah, it's an advantage this time of the year to have a couple of guys who can give you multiple innings. 3 innings out of Lugo his last time out.
He had 18 starts a year ago. 8 starts in 2016. He faces Jesus Aguilar. Curveball is in there for strike one. Aguilar has hit the ball hard twice, a fly out and a double his last trip. That's in the hole. Early chance for Reyes, and the throw not in time. Aguilar an infield single.
Yeah, heck of a play by Jose Reyes. He's still got a little bit of giddy up in those legs. Pretty good throw off balance. He ended up over by the tarp by the time he stopped. And still has the range, and how about the throwing arm right on the money, but Aguilar able to beat it out. So the inning continues with still nobody out, or I should say one out. I'll tell you, the big fella still can pick him up and set him down when he can sniff a base hit.
Yes, sir. He can be nimble with the footwork around the bag at first, and he can motor a little bit. Less of him this year. He lost some weight in the offseason. Still a very big, strong man. Here's Hernan Perez. He hit a two-run homer, which followed Aguilar's double in the fourth inning. Let's see how he follows the infield hit. Here's Wendy's at the plate for Perez. The fly ball to right back of the second inning before the two-run shot 2 innings later.
Yeah, Lugo kind of throws the kitchen sink at you. 2 different fastballs, a curveball, slider, and changeup.
Missed a good chunk of time last year with right elbow issue. Started to occur to Lugo during the World Baseball Classic, in fact, last year. The 1-1 to Perez. A 6-4 game. Brewers tied the game with a two-run fourth, courtesy of Perez. That scored a run in the bottom half of the inning and 3 more runs in the fifth. Little chopper up the line. Frazier bobbles, no play. Another infield hit. That's another theme throughout baseball. It has happened for and against the Brewers a lot.
Yeah. Well, second infield hit of the inning. Started with an error in right. Brewers starting to get some breaks here this inning. Aguilar with an infield hit. Now Perez, couple of men on. Cut fastball, slider, whatever you want. He didn't have much movement on it. Well, might have gone foul had he let it go. I don't think he had to play anyway, even if he was able to keep it in the glove.
Tying run now at first for Orlando Arcia. Arcia tonight a strikeout and a ground ball to third. Seth Lugo on in relief of Steven Matz, who went 5 1/3. Back-to-back infield singles. Aguilar and Perez setting things up for Arcia. There's a bouncer that backs up Frazier. Cabrera for one. Gonzalez for the double play. Seth Lugo gets a big double play ball off the bat of Arcia, but Ryan Braun goes deep. A 2-run shot to get the Brewers back in it. It's 6-4 Mets in the 6th.
run homer. And tonight's time of the game winner, Replay Sports Bar and Grill in De Pere, if they call the Brewers, by 10 o'clock tomorrow. They get 40 tickets to a Friday night game in the Miller Lite Beer Pen. This offer courtesy of the Tavern League of Wisconsin and Miller Lite.
Beautiful Friday night at the ballpark. The 70s here in New York today. Likewise tomorrow. Oliver Drake now on the mound for the Crew.
Second reliever for the Brewers, and we are here in the 6th inning. Drake last pitched on Tuesday against St. Louis. Inning in the 3rd. He walked 3, but did not give up a run. He did allow an inherited runner to score. 6th appearance overall for Oliver Drake.
It'll be Lobatone, Jose Reyes, and Michael Conforto, 8, 9, and 1. In the Mets batting order, Mickey Callaway with the double switch at the top of the inning. There's Reyes now in the 9 spot. Lobatone has tripled and struck out. First game up, called up from AAA. The injuries to both Travis d'Arnaud and Kevin Plawecki.
And Drake's going to have 6 different left-handed hitters to deal with now with Reyes in the lineup. He's a switch hitter as well. That's kind of what Craig Counsell was hoping for with that split-fingered fastball that he throws.
The screwball action popped up and out of play. This is where Counsell needs this bullpen to keep this game close.
Again.
Yeah, that's been
they've done a terrific job so far this year in that regard.
Yeah, that's been the theme that I think it's overshadowed by the blown saves, and certainly the 9th inning has proved, or the 10th or the 11th was the case on Tuesday night. It's just a different world. You know, a lot of folks have wondered about Josh Hader. You know, could he be a closer? But Craig Counsell has said repeatedly he likes to kind of pick and choose the hitters that he wants Hader to face. And that plan has worked really well for Josh Hader. Gave up a home run yesterday, or Wednesday rather, in the 9th, but he has been almost untouchable, and a strikeout there of Lobatone to begin the 6th inning.
Yeah, and that's what happens when you lose your closer. I mean, the guy the caliber of a Corey Knebel. You got to figure out who's going to be that guy. If they even determine one guy, they're going to go matchups, and everybody's going to get an opportunity to finish a game. Brewers do have, you know, some guys that have closing experience, but it's not the same when your closer's down and he's hurt, and it's going to be for a considerable amount of time.
Especially an all-star closer like Knebel. Jose Reyes is off the foot of Aguilar, and Reyes is on.
Should have been an easy chance for Aguilar, and Jose Reyes with very good speed on first base. And it plays it back and hits him right in the leg. Never did get a glove on it.
So it's an error. E3, both teams now with an error tonight. Brewers had a clean game Wednesday afternoon in St. Louis, but those clean games have been the exception to the rule. Here's Michael Conforto.
That's a big lead by Reyes out there. He's got that front foot well beyond the cutout of the grass.
Big part of his game, especially much earlier in his career. 3 times he led the league in stolen bases, including 78 steals, but that was 11 years ago. Conforto tonight, a strikeout, a foul pop, and a walk. That walk led off the 5th inning, came around to score part of that 3-run inning for the Mets. Good start for Conforto. Several weeks ago, the feeling was he would still be a couple of weeks away from coming back. Targeting early May. As Rock mentioned, Reyes still can run. He had 24 stolen bases last year, was caught just 6 times.
And he's got a big lead. It looks like he wants to take off. That's a pretty good sized lead right there.
Yes, it is. He's flinching a little bit over there. He does get a little itchy.
Well, it seems like he can get a little bit more too, because he's getting back really easily. Yeah, but Drake doing the best he can. He's keeping an eye on him.
Andy has a good arm. Runner holds. Still a good runner. Bandy has cut down 2 trying to steal this season so far. And Pena have been pretty good in that department. Very good starts. Drake doing everything he can to keep that lead from growing. 2 strikes and nothing to Conforto.
Yeah, between the two of them, they've caught 5 of 11. Outstanding work.
Terrific arms we've watched in spring training. Christian Bethancourt as well. Very strong arm. Strong enough where the Padres used him to pitch. And 2 to Michael Conforto. This with a fastball. So far, the only inning where the Mets have not scored is the 3rd. Single runs in the 1st, the 2nd, and the 4th. 3 runs in the 5th. The 1-2. Another ongoing Brewers theme. Nothing easy. Conforto really making these Brewers pitchers work. This is his 4th plate appearance of the game. This will be the 30th pitch he has seen.
Yeah.
And the 30th gets him. Splitter takes care of Conforto for out number 2.
He's got a good one, particularly against lefties. Going down and away to a left-handed batter. Check it out. You see the split finger on it. That one pretty straight, but it was the tumbling action going down as it gets to home plate.
2 men out with Jose Reyes the runner at first, and here is Cabrera. Good night so far, and the out was a warning track fly back in the 3rd inning. Zach Davies went the first 4 and a third. Dan Jennings finished the 5th inning. And Drake trying to finish off the 6th. Came over early last year from the Orioles, did Drake. Appeared in 61 games. And appearance number 6 for him so far this season. The 1-0.
Throwing splitters for strikes and fastballs out of the zone. Trying to get him to chase, setting up the split.
Cabrera, with his night tonight, has extended his hitting streak to 11 games.
Now 2-1 count here. If Jose Reyes is going to run, this would be the count. You figure it's a split-fingered fastball count. 2-1, a very good pitch to run on.
Drake with strikeouts of Lobaton and Conforto in between. Reyes reaching on an error. Drake should be out of the inning already. Trying to get out of it now. 2-1. Quite the sign of respect, the 34-year-old Jose Reyes. Still a healthy lead. That's in there. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
I think Cabrera looking splitter. Didn't get it. Got the fastball that time.
Pretty healthy success rate there for Jose Reyes. Big years for him in that department in 05, 06, and 07. The 2-2. He struck him out. How about the work of Oliver Drake? Reyes reaches on an error. Otherwise, Drake punches out Lobaton, Conforto, and then Cabrera to end the inning. Lights, great taste and only 96 calories. And by Toyota, let's go places. Ryan Braun, a 2-run homer. Likewise, Hernan Perez. Brewers still playing from behind, but Oliver Drake with 3 punch-outs in the bottom of the 6th inning. 2 coming after Jose Reyes reached on an error. Able to get Conforto and Asdrubal Cabrera. So he keeps the Brewers within 2 as Jed Bandy leads off the top of the 7th, and he hits a very high pop-up into foul territory, but Todd Frazier will have room and he'll squeeze it for out number 1. Well, a pinch hitter now for Counsell as he will send Jonathan VR to the plate.
Craig Counsell just trying to, pace his relievers, not having them pitch too deep. 1 inning apiece, and plus you need offense. It'd be nice to get VR on base for the top of the order.
This is the side of the plate where you want VR right now. He's hitting .367 from the left side. Facing the right-hander Seth Lugo. Brewers with a 4-man bench, and really they would prefer 3. They would rather not use Pena here tonight. Breaking ball chopped up the line, and Gonzalez will play it, and that's out number 2.
Craig Counsell said that Pena's just fine to catch. I mean, behind home plate, defensively, really no issue for him. It's what they're concerned about is him running down the lines on the bases, maybe backing up first base.
Right calf tightness. That's the issue with Manny. 2 outs, bases empty for Lorenzo Cain. Nervous moments earlier on here when he collided with Domingo Santana on a fly ball. He and Santana were shaken up, but both stayed in the game. Sets up as a nice luxury for Mickey Callaway. You have Lugo available to give you multiple innings. Former starter Robert Gazelman, also starter, now in the bullpen.
Relatively short start. Then you have the 8th, your setup man, and Familia.
Down the line, diving stop. Todd Frazier, and safe at first is Cain.
Yeah,
wow.
Tough pick for Gonzalez right there. One of those in-between hops. That Todd Frazier is showing he's not just one-dimensional. He can do more than just hit. That's a heck of a play. Had a long way to go. Fully stretched out. He gets up, just not able to get enough on the throw to get it all the way over on the fly. And this is a tough pick, in-between hop. And Gonzalez not able to come up with it. You put it on the grass, it's a long hop. It's an easier hop, or the short hop. That's a tough play.
Another infield hit for the Brewers. Here's Santana.
If nothing else, Frazier prevented a double.
A terrific stop. Santana reached on an error, a misplay on a fly ball out to right field. Came around to score in the 6th. Three infield hits for the Brewers, a double and 2 home runs. Santana is still looking for his first home run of the year. He hit 30 last season. Cain is running. The pitch, base hit into left. Cain motor into third. Cespedes the throw, and Cain is out at third. Risky business challenging the arm of Yoenis Cespedes. Cain took a chance and got caught.
They can't make the third out at third base, particularly when Ryan Braun's coming up. That's a no-no. He's out by plenty.
A promising inning is cut short. Stretch time with the Mets up 6-4. 7th. Lorenzo Cain trying to get an extra base, cut down at third. It's a tough one. Ryan Braun would have been at the plate with 2 on, but that is not the case. Hey, guarantee your lower seats for the 2018 Bucks playoffs today with the purchase of a playoff strip. Visit foxsportswisconsin.com for details. NBA playoff time. Bucks and the Celtics. Jacob Barnes now on the mound for Milwaukee.
Yeah, pitched on Tuesday, was given a blown save against the Cardinals, 2/3 of an inning, a couple of walks, one of them intentional, and a couple of wild pitches on his line. A 225 earned run average so far for Jacob.
Faces Cespedes leading off here in the bottom of the 7th. RBI single, infield single as well for Cespedes tonight. Barnes can rear back and bring it.
He just had a difficult time with his cut fastball in that appearance in St. Louis a couple of days ago.
One pitch to Cespedes. Barnes following Oliver Drake. Pitched an effective 6th inning, getting 3 strikeouts. Turning an error on Jesus Aguilar into a harmless one. Cespedes, Bruce, and Gonzalez here for the Mets in the 7th inning. And a strikeout for Jacob Barnes.
Man, challenged him fastball. Plenty of the plate, big velocity for Barnes to get him. Sitting up on the outer half of the plate. 97 miles an hour for Barnes. There you go.
That is 8 strikeouts for Brewers pitching. Davies had 4. Here's Jay Bruce.
Hey, Drake struck out the side.
Oh, 1 pitch to Bruce. Well, he's not messing around. Cuts that a little bit and is ahead 2 strikes and nothing. Run scoring double the last at bat for Bruce in the 5th. 2-strike pitch. That's what got him in trouble in St. Louis.
Spiking the split-fingered fastball cost him a run.
The 1-2. Back-to-back strikeouts for Barnes. The last 5 Mets have been retired via the strikeout. 2 outs in the 7th.
Man, that's the old 4-seamer right there. Hey, Brewer ticket packages started or group ticket packages started just $6 per seat for groups of 25 or more. Plus, you can take your outing to the next level by reserving tailgate space, seating blocks, and all-inclusive areas. Learn more at brewers.com/groups.
Base is empty for Adrian Gonzalez. That sac fly in the 5th inning. That was the collision with Cain and Santana. Santana was able to make the catch. Both were calling for it. Bouncing ball requiring a charge from the second baseman Perez, and it is a 1-2-3 inning, the first 1-2-3 inning of the night. Ryan Braun, who has a 2-run homer already tonight, he'll lead off the 8th with the Brewers trailing the Mets 6-4. inning. Let's check out our Badger Mutual Insurance play of the game. Watch this at bat from Braun a couple innings ago.
Yeah, this is in on him, and maybe next time he throws it in there, he's waiting for it and knocks it out of here. I mean, very similar, locations, a little different velocity, 93 to 92, but I think Brawny kind of went to school and kind of said to himself he might be doing that again because he jammed me so bad, and he was waiting for that next one.
He faces Seth Lugo to start the 8th inning. Able to use Lugo for multiple innings. Steven Matz went the first 5 1/3. It's been Lugo's show ever since. Braun hits this into center field. Conforto with plenty of room. 1 away.
They think a lot of Lugo, don't they, having him here in the 8th inning? One of the best bullpens in all of baseball. Certainly earned run average wise the best in the National League. Allowing Lugo to continue here.
A double play grounder out of Orlando Arcia to finish the 6th inning. Gave up a couple of infield hits in the 7th. Travis Shaw at the plate. Let's check out the Powerball home run leaderboard. Eric Thames, who is available off the bench, 5 home runs, just loves April. Left-handers starting the game. That allowed Counsell Counsell choosing to go with obviously Aguilar at first, and Thames available off the bench. 1-1 the count to Shaw. Quiet night for Travis Shaw. 2 ground balls and a strikeout.
He's one of those guys. I remember last year he really didn't go into those extended slumps because of the way he swings the bat. I mean, he keeps that bat in the hitting zone such a long time.
That's hit well into right field, and this is a 1-run game. Travis Shaw just smoked it over the wall in right, and it's 6-5.
Exactly what I'm talking about right there. I tell you, you give him a fastball down like that, he is going to give it a ride. At least he's going to put a good swing on it. But the way he keeps that bat in the hitting zone such a long time, he is one of those guys that you would think is an extended slump proof. And he gives that one a ride. Check it out. Here it is, down and in. Look out. Actually down and out over the plate, and he gives it a ride out of here to right. A no doubter. Not a quiet night any longer for Travis.
Well, the Brewers using the home run ball to get their runs. A couple of 2-run shots, and now a solo blast for Travis Shaw. And here is Jesus Aguilar. He has doubled an infield single. Hit one of the warning track in the 2nd inning, requiring a highlight reel play from Yoenis Cespedes.
It's just such a hot zone for Shaw, isn't it? Down like that.
Yes, it is.
Wow. He doesn't miss those.
A no doubter. First run allowed by Seth Lugo here in 2018. Aguilar hits it foul and out of play. Out in front of that curveball. 2nd home run of the year for Shaw. Lugo ready with the 1-2 pitch. That's hit in the air to left field, and Cespedes will have to play that off the wall. Aguilar the big turn, but he is wisely choosing not to challenge Cespedes. That throw is on the money. Long single for Aguilar.
He's hit the ball hard every time up tonight. Right-handers, left-handers, doesn't matter who's out there. His 3rd hit. Check it out. Maybe the Mets trying to get a little bit too much out of Lugo here in the 8th. He's Brewers are putting some pretty good swings on that baseball. That went out over the plate. Little top spin liner. That's what kept it in the ballpark. There's your tying run at first base.
Well, the Brewers continue to battle. Another one-run game going on. Pitching change here at Citi Field. Mets lead the Brewers 6-5. Eighth inning already. Travis Shaw has homered. 6-5 Mets. This team just loves the one-run games. That means they need to score 2 more and get a good start to the weekend.
Man, most of those one-run games are low scoring. A little bit different here tonight. Brewers offense starting to break out a little bit. Good to see.
A.J. Ramos now on the mound for New York.
Yeah, he's been terrific. Former closer for the Marlins. He had 27 saves between the Mets and the Marlins last year. Picked him up at the trading deadline.
Yep, for a couple of minor leaguers. He will face Hernan Perez. Jesus Aguilar, the runner at first. Brewers have hit 3 home runs tonight. Perez has 1 of them. A 2-run shot in the 4th. Maybe coming out of it here these last couple of games. The 1-0 in the air to center. Room for Conforto. That's out number 2.
Yeah, just missed it.
Ramos was an all-star with the Marlins 2 years ago. A 40-save season.
Man likes his slider. Throws a lot of them.
Orlando Arcia was the scheduled hitter. Craig Counsell is going to make a move. Tough night for Arcia at the plate. And Eric Sogard will come on the pinch hit. You remember last year some different cast of characters involved. Certainly Ramos was still with the Marlins, but when Sogard came up with the Brewers last year, it was in that series against New York, and Sogard homered. A very good start to his time as a Brewer, and now got a little game of chess going on right now as Counsell making a move. So Callaway will make one as well. Another pitching change. Ramos retires 1 and makes way for Jerry Blevins. 6-5 New York. With 2 men out, Craig Counsell going to his bench. Eric Sogard will pinch hit for Orlando Arcia. So Mickey Callaway going lefty versus lefty as Jerry Blevins is on.
Yeah, this guy's off to a good start. I mean, Blevins is a guy that can work a lot. 2 straight years, 70 or more appearances. The only left-hander in the Mets bullpen.
So here we go. Pinch hitting opportunity for Sogard with the Brew Crew down a run in the 8th inning. AJ Ramos faces just one hitter. Got Perez to hit a fly ball to center. The 1-0.
Missing with a couple of sliders, not even close. Well, you figure Sogard might get a fastball here.
Eric 1 for 4 in a pinch hitting role this season. 2-0 pitch. And it is in there for a strike. '75 appearances last year, 73 the year before. Matter of fact, 3 straight years of 70+ appearances for the left-hander, Jerry Blevins. Brings the 2-1. That's in the air, left center field. That'll get down a base hit. Aguilar stops at second as Sogard delivers with a pinch single.
He stayed right on and had to count in his favor. Able to dump one out there into center field. That might be it for Blevins.
Yeah, another 1 and done. As Gazelman warming up, Robert Gazelman, another former starter like Lugo, who now comes out of the bullpen. So the wheels are turning. Tying run at second, go ahead run at first, and it will be Gazelman to face Jet Bandy. 6-5 the Mets. Between the dugout and the mound here is the 4th pitcher here in the inning for the Mets to face the 4th hitter here in Jet Bandy. Robert Gazelman now on the mound.
Yeah, Mets trying to get to that 9th inning with a lead and using just about all their bullets. No left-handers left for the Mets in the bullpen. Gazelman making his 7th appearance. Good start to his year. A 129 earned run average, 12 punch-outs in 7 innings.
He will face Jet Bandy. Aguilar, the runner at second. Singled off the wall. Sogard, a pinch hit single to center. Big opportunity for the Brewers catcher, Jed Bandy. And he looks at ball one.
Mixes it up pretty well. He's got a fastball, slider, curve, and change.
And he's on, gets a lot of ground balls. The 1-0.
There's that heavy sinker right there you're talking about. That's the ground ball pitch. It's going to take a long single to tie this game. You got Aguilar out there at second base.
Good arms in the outfield. A great arm with Cespedes in left. The 2-0. Popped him up. Off with the mask is Lobaton. Runs out of room.
There's a break. Man, that two-seamer from Gesellman just bores in on a right-handed hitter. You get the count in your favor. You got to make him start that pitch out or half. A lot of run to it.
Just a month and a half last year did Gesellman because of a hamstring strain. Part of that injury curse that hits the Mets staff here the last couple of years. 2-1 pitch to Bandy. Little nubber back to the mound, and that'll end the inning. Brewers pick up a run, but they leave two. Travis Shaw with his second home run of the year. This was a no-doubter to right field. Mets lead the Brew Crews 6-5 in the eighth.
Game brought to you by Freighter and the Medical College of Wisconsin. We'll take a look at Mets third baseman Todd Frazier. A pair of home runs for him tonight, but the Brewers got the bat going as well. Hernan Perez, Ryan Braun, Travis Shaw, all with home runs tonight. And we'll get reaction inside the clubhouse from manager Craig Counsell. That's all coming up on Brewers Live with Craig Kashan and Jerry Augustine.
All right, Sophia, thank you very much. Counsell watching his team hang in there. Tough night for Zach Davies. The bullpen has given up just one run so far. That was Dan Jennings. Oliver Drake, 3 punch outs in 1 inning, and now they're asking another inning out of Jacob Barnes. He will begin by squaring off with Todd Frazier.
A 3-up, 3-down 7th. A couple of strikeouts.
Eric Sogard, pinch hitting for Orlando Arcia, will stay in the game. He is the new shortstop. Cutter in there for strike one. At 3-up, 3-down 7th, That Barnes guy, that is the only inning tonight where the Mets have been retired in order. Break even pitch.
Yeah, but it was the heart of the order too. Cespedes, Bruce, and Gonzalez. Impressive inning.
Strikeouts with Cespedes and Bruce. Got Gonzalez to ground to second. Big night for Frazier with the 2 bombs. Here's the 1-2. That's in the air, and that's going to fall a base hit. Cut off in the gap by Kane. And it's a long single for Todd Frazier. They still haven't gotten him out tonight.
Yeah, he's seeing it pretty good tonight. That pitch middle in. He's able to pull the hands in and line it into right center.
Getting it done with 2 strikes. Brandon Nimmo now on to pinch hit. The feeling was he was going to get a lot of time in center field to begin the season. But Conforto came back much earlier than expected. Nimmo was sent down recently and now just today called back up.
You can bring him back if there's an injury. You don't have to be down for 10 days.
Which is what has happened with this Mets team. That's hit well into center, but hangs up there for Lorenzo Cain for out number 1.
That's a nice short stroke by Nimmo. Wow. Ball just jumped off his bat. It was fortunate it was right at Cain.
Let's check out Miller Lite's What's on Tap. Game 2 of this series. This is a good pitching matchup. Chase Anderson on the mound for the Brew Crew, and Matt Harvey looking to bounce back. Struggled mightily last year. Some off-field issues as well. 6:30 we'll get our coverage started on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Looking for that Dark Knights who was so good a couple of years ago for this Mets team. Matt Harvey.
Yeah, they've got some pretty good arms in his starting rotation here in New York.
And it's one right after the other. Some call it the Big Five. We got Syndergaard going on Sunday. The hard throwing Noah Syndergaard. Jose Lobaton tripled back in the second inning. And since struck out twice. Brewers trying to get Jacob Barnes to get through 2 innings out of the bullpen. Frazier a leadoff single. Nimmo a liner to center.
All's quiet down in that Brewers pen.
Milwaukee has yet to lose a 1-run game. They are 5-0. So hold them here and get 2 in the 9th. Barnes keeping an eye on Todd Frazier.
Yeah, he will run if you don't pay attention to him. He's not really all that fast, but he will surprise you and take off. You don't keep an eye on him.
A couple of years ago, even with the White Sox, he stole 15 bases, stole 20 with the Reds in 2014. That'll cost Lobaton a strike. He offered a ball, 2 strikes now to the catcher.
Yeah, if nothing else, you got to slow him down. I mean, Barnes threw to home plate, and Frazier just kept walking towards second. Those are the opportunities that he takes to steal a base.
Brewers adjust their alignment. That is Travis Shaw there on the right side. Sogard And the infielder on the third base side of the bag at second. The 1-2. And that is hit slowly to Sogard. They get one to Perez on to first, and that's a double play. Positioned perfectly. Good work. Let's see if the Brewers can get a rally. Down one as we go to the ninth. We move to the ninth inning. 6-5 Mets lead the Brewers. Brewers trailed by 4 at one point. Chipped away. The home run ball has been big. 2-run shots from Perez and Braun. Solo blast from Travis Shaw. And now the Mets turn to their closer, Juris Familia.
Yeah, 6 saves. That leads all of baseball. And you can see his numbers. Has not allowed a run. 6 for 6. Now 8 appearances, including tonight. 10 punch outs in 8 innings of work. This guy had 51 saves back in 2016.
He will face Eric Thames. Pinch hitting. He leads off, followed by Kane and Santana. Thames with 5 home runs here in the month of April. Ten hits overall for Thames. 7 have gone for extra bases. Brewers trying to get another 9th inning rally.
Has a lot of sink on his fastball. You know, the 2-seamer, he throws it a lot. He's got a slider to go with it.
A ball to strike to Thames, leading off the 9th inning. Break-even pitch.
You see that sinker going down as it gets to home plate, 93 miles an hour.
He was out from May 11th through August 25th last season because of a blood clot in his right shoulder. The 1-2. Thames hangs in there. Brewers trying to get a little rally going in the 9th. Familia with a 1-2. Over to first, and that's Gonzalez. He'll handle it himself. Out number 1. Well, the Mets have gotten big workloads from Familia. When healthy, can get you 75, 76 appearances a year. Now he faces Lorenzo Cain. Cain has been on 3 times, couple of walks, an infield single in the 7th inning.
Yep, early in the count, you got to make sure he gets that pitch up in the zone. You can be patient. You don't want to swing that sinker down around the knees. Not unless you have to with 2 strikes.
One-0 pitch to Cain. He's behind on that 95-mile-an-hour heater. 1-1 the count.
Yeah, big uppercut there. He's looking to take one out of here.
Domingo Santana is on deck. The 1-1.
2016, when he had the 51 saves, he allowed only 1 home run all season.
That's right.
That's because of that 2-seamer.
In 77 2/3 innings. Two and 1 the count to Cain. One hopper. Reyes out number 2. Brew Crew down to his final out. Up to Domingo Santana to extend this 9th inning. He's reached twice, singled in the 7th, reached on an error in the 6th. Well, get him on base. You got Ryan Braun waiting on deck. The 1-0.
Pound everything in the ground with this guy out there.
Trying to get back to that premier closer status. That all-star form of 2 years ago. 1-1 pitch. Slider. Santana down on the count of ball, 2 strikes.
Well, Slider's got that pitch too. Well located outside corner.
The 1-2. Game over. Familia puts him down in order as he earns another save, and the Mets improve to 11-1. Well, the home run ball was there for the Brewers, but they fall 1 run short. First time this season they have dropped a 1-run game. Mets win the opener of this series 6-5. We got Brewers Live coming up with Craig Deshawn and Jerry Augustine. They'll join you next from Citi Field as the Mets win it 6-5.